All right, friends, so our practice today is going to include postures for shoulders, neck, upper back, some heart opening, hips. We'll see what we can do about some core work. We might do some twisting for that. And then feet. I love special requests for feet because there's a few things that we can do. And something to pay attention to, right? Because we don't always pay attention to our feet. We don't think about our feet and our hands much. But when you really think about our day-to-day lives and all the things that our feet and our hands do for us, it's super important to move that energy if we feel a little stuck and stiff, right? We want to make sure that all of the digits and phalanges and are all moving and working. So I'm just going to pop over and see one more thing. Hi, Trisha. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you very much, Miss Avery. That is so very kind and generous of you. Anytime, my friends, if you feel like you're ready to donate, please feel free to hit that donate button as well on your screen. And any amount is amazing. Betty and I super duper appreciate it. So with that, let's take a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe you're on a bolster, maybe you're on a block, maybe you're not on anything. But however you find yourself in your comfortable seat, bring your shoulders over your hips and allow your shoulders to move down your back away from your ears. So even as we're starting in our easy pose, our Sukhasana, we are opening up through the heart space. So if we are dealing with any kind of grief or anxiety or depression, we may notice our physical body is also showing that. So if it is, if maybe the shoulders are rounded forward and we're kind of slumped over, can we correct that? Can we do the opposite and sit up? Oh, fake it to make it, my friends. Sometimes we gotta just smile, even though we don't feel like it. But what happens is that the brain then responds to that. The brain is amazing. This is why yoga is so helpful, such a beautiful tool that we have been given to utilize in our lives. And the mind does not differentiate between a memory and what is actually happening in the present. So just something to think about in our practice. If we have those thoughts, those tendencies, like myself, I'm not pointing anybody out, I am including myself in this group. If we have that tendency to kind of go towards the thoughts that are not serving us, then this is a good practice for us, is to recognize when we are having those thoughts, those feelings, and say, I am here, I am present in this moment. And I did a wonderful meditation. I listened to a wonderful meditation this morning about, grounding and presence and dealing with and letting go of anxiety and depression and saying, I am here in this moment. And when your body and your mind recognize that, they realize there is no threat, right? There is nothing happening that needs our emotional reaction for that, right? Because all we're doing is we're playing a memory, we're replaying something in our head, and it constantly hurts and triggers us. This is my work. Honest, this is the work I have to do for myself on a daily. So when you find yourself in those spaces, recognize it's just a thought. It's not happening in the present, and you are safe. So take some nice full breaths. Deepen that breath into the belly, all the way up through the heart space. So keep that open heart. Recognize you are here, you are safe in the present. So smile, even if it doesn't feel like you really want to smile, but trick your brain. We have to reach for those better feeling thoughts. It's a practice. Some days are easier. Some days are more challenging. Maybe there's days that go by and you're good all day long and you're like, wow, I'm feeling great. And then maybe that kind of dark cloud just kind of comes over and takes over, and here we are and thinking about the past and worrying about the future. It causes us our own suffering, right? So if we can recognize that we cause our own suffering in life sometimes, right, with our own thoughts, we can control it, right? We can change the channel. Absolutely. Set that intention for your day of how you want to go forward for the rest of the day or afternoon. Take 2 more breaths here. And whatever length that you gain on that inhale, see if you can maintain that long spine. Good. And that exhale, gently wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, come back to this space. And let us go ahead and begin with a very grounding posture that'll be wonderful for dealing with our anxiety and our grief. We're going to use some props here. If you don't have props, use whatever you have around the house, pillows, blankets. We're going to prop ourselves up. So I know we did this posture, I think on Friday. I think we did versions of it last Tuesday and Friday, but this time we're going to use the bolster. So little girl, this is the issue, right? When we have dogs practicing in our space and they take our blankets, I have to move her now. Okay, so coming up into a nice heart opener. And we are going to involve the legs in this as well. So this will get into our low back where we need that work and the hips. So set your blocks up, or if you're stacking pillow, blanket, towel, whatever you have, you're going to make like a little ramp. So my block is at the very tallest height. And then the middle one is, or the second one in front is that middle height. And then I'm going to take that bolster over it. And then, little girl, can I get you to move? I'm sorry, Mama, can you move? Up, Betty girl. I'm just going to move the blanket over, okay? There you go. There you go. You're right. You're right there. You're good. She's still a happy camper. She'll be fine. Okay. If you have additional blocks, or you can place those underneath your knees. If separating the knees coming into that butterfly is just too much, you can use the blocks. But for me, I like to use a blanket roll, and I show this frequently. This is one of my favorite props to use when I'm doing a cross-legged pose like this. So if we were sitting in Sukhasana, easy pose for an extended period of time, this is how I would advise you to sit. So I take that blanket into a rectangle shape, and then I just begin to roll it nice and tight. So it's a long, pretty skinny roll, because if you roll it the other way, it's going to be a little bit more thick. And I don't want it to be that thick, because I want it to go over the tops of my feet. And then as I butterfly my knees out to the sides, I tuck the tails underneath, and it gives me a nice support. So I'm not super extending my hip flexors. I don't want to overdo it. Remember, we're always trying to find the edge. We're trying to find that balance of effort and ease. So as you're sitting in front of your bolster, just kind of scoot yourself up to it. Put a little space in between your body and the bolster, and then make any adjustments as you need. If you have a ponytail, you might have to move that. Thank you so much for sharing space this morning and showing up and offering what you need for practice today. We're going to be here for 3 minutes, and then I'm going to give you a couple of choices here as well if you want to add your arms. So this is lovely right here. Nice hip opening, good for the back. Nice long spine. And we're getting the heart opening, which is so good when we are dealing with any kind of loss or grief. So just find stillness in this pose. And then find your breath. Make any little adjustments. If the back feels crunchy, just kind of lift the hips and lengthen the tailbone towards your heels. That'll just take out that little kind of crunchiness that might be in the low back if you got a little bunched up back there. So just lengthen, lift and lengthen. And then a choice to add the arms overhead. This will really get into the lung and heart meridian lines. And those lines of energy are deeply impacted when we are dealing with loss and grief. Think about, when we find that news or we hear the news of a loss, how difficult it can be to take a full deep breath in. It's like our lungs are just not capable of expanding, right? Because our heart is broken. So this is where we can allow yoga to help us in our life. To become very still in your shape, and just breathe. Soften through your facial features, your jaw, your eyes, your throat. Find some space here. Keep expanding with your inhales and letting go on those exhales. If you took the arm clasp, elbow clasp overhead, gently release your arms. Stay here for a couple of breaths before making any movements. Just coming back into your body and then taking your hands on the outsides of your knees and gently bringing your knees together. Good. Oh, hello, friends. I see a few more people have popped on. Welcome. And carefully remove any props off your mat. You can roll over to the side, or you can use your arms to bring yourself up. Okay, so how we doing? Okay, that is just such a grounding posture for me, and I love the hip opening. So always when we meet, we will find some version of butterfly for the legs, whether we're reclined or we're doing a forward fold. I always like to include those because they're so good. They're so good for everybody, for all ages and stages of life. Okay. All right. So we did a little bit of heart opening, hips. Let's get into the feet a little bit. I know we've done this before pretty recently, but I think it's worthy to do again. So let us find ourselves in a kneeling position. So curl the toes under. Make sure all 10 toes are facing the same direction. None of them are caught there. Options, you can stay down on your heels like this, or you can come up to a kneeling position if you need more support underneath the knees. Grab that blanket and place it there. So the idea is we're going to get some nice feet opening here. So I'm going to sit back on my heels. We're not going to be here for super long, just for a minute. So find your best posture, whatever's going to work best for you for your toes. And if you're on your heels and you're like, wow, this is really intense, come up, right? Give yourself a little break. Breathe a couple of breaths here, and then when you're ready, come back down. Or if you've had enough of it, stay up. But this nice opening in our feet. We're going to do another one for the ankles too. To me, it's kind of like, you do one action one way, you got to do it the other, opposites, right? You got to do both. Keep that balance. Again, thinking about our feet, how much they do for us every single day. All the places they've taken us, right? All the places we've walked and visited and traveled to with our feet. We owe them some TLC for sure. All right, keep breathing. I know we're almost there. If we don't practice this very often, it becomes rather intense. So I can tell I need to bring this into my practice a little bit more often, for sure. All right, friends, there we are. That was 1 minute. Come forward on the hands and knees. Gently, carefully uncurl your feet. And then I like to just do a little pat, pat, pat with the tops of my feet on my yoga mat. Kind of tap it out. Feels nice to me. Okay. As you are ready, let us do our ankle stretch. So some choices here. If you wish, you can take something in front of you to prop the knees up on, if that makes sense. And that will make more sense after I explain. So you're going to take your hands next to your knees. The tops of your feet are flat, okay, on the ground. If that does not work for you, it just can't get there, right? The feet just aren't going to get there. That's okay. You can take a blanket roll there as well. Place it under that gap, if there is a gap, right? Because that's why you would have to place that if there's the top of the foot is just not getting down to the ground. Hands come next to the knees, and then we lift the knees up. So we're putting that stress on the front. Now, only lift as high as feels safe and comfortable to you. If it feels okay, that's where you would take a prop and maybe prop the knees up like that. So 1 minute here, your choice. You can hold, or you can use a prop to just help you stay there a little bit longer. And then use that blanket roll if you need it. Or use nothing. These are just all suggestions for your practice. I don't live in your body. I live in this thing right here, this meat suit for 44 years. So that's all I know. I trust you know your body much better to know what it needs. And that's why I give you support, because maybe you don't know. So that's why I want to offer the choices. All right, we're almost there, my friends. Keep breathing. I kind of like it with the knee support. It makes it so I can be here and not struggle. I still feel the stretch, but I'm not having to work my upper body so much. Okay, my friends, that was 1 minute with our feet and ankle stretch for each one. Carefully remove the blocks, bolsters, whatever props you've used. Okay, and then carefully come off. If you want to do the same thing with the tops of your feet, just a little tap, 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 you can do that as well. Might feel really nice. All right, let's get a little bit more into the feet and to the hips. Have a blanket just in case you need it. We are going to come down into a yogi squat, into malasana, another really fantastic grounding shape. So have a blanket, have a block. I'm going to show a couple different things if that's what you need. So the first one with the block, remember malasana is that yogi squat. Pretty much one of the only things we do on our feet besides dangling, right? Our forward fold, we have our yogi squat. So take those feet and about wider than hips, and then you're going to squat down. This is where the block comes in handy. 3 heights. You can do very tall height if that's what you need. If that's where you are today, then maybe this is your squat, your malasana. Or maybe it's down lower. Or maybe it's on the lowest. Or maybe you use nothing. We're not going to be here for super long. But when we come into that shape, if we come into that shape and our feet are lifting and we're doing one of these, right? Almost lost my balance. Oh my gosh. We're going to lose our balance. This is where you would use that blanket. So you're going to step onto the blanket and just fill that gap of wherever your feet are not touching the floor. And it would look like this. So malasana, 1 minute. Like I said, not super long, but a nice thing to get the feet involved and to get a nice little hip opener here. So arms on the insides of your knees, or hands can be on the floor, and just breathe here. Sink down into your yogi squat. Good. Just sink down as much as you can. Try not to hold or grip the hip flexors. You can round here a little bit. And if you want to place the hands on the floor, maybe it just looks a little different. Okay, that was 1 minute. Let's do some more grounding. Take those hands And then place them on the floor. Bend the knees as much as you need. We're just going to come into a dangling posture. So maybe the knees are bent a lot. Maybe you're using blocks underneath your hands or a bolster if that's what you need. You can always rest yourself as you need on the props. But we're not going to be here for long. It's just another 1 minute hold in dangling. So one of the two postures we do on our feet, we're going to do them both. Let your head go, release. Again, bending the knees as much as you need. Maybe your chest is resting on top of your thighs. That's totally fine. But try to just hang and dangle as much as you can. Let the upper body and your torso pull you down, lengthening through the back of your legs and extending all of those soft tissues, right? Maybe you might get some snap, crackles, and pops in your spine from this. And both postures that we just did, squat and dangling, are very grounding since our feet are on the floor. All right, friends, carefully, just walk those feet back out. Come back down into a little bit of a squat to transition back to the floor. And let's find ourselves in a shoulder opener. How are we doing, everyone? So far, so good? Yes? All right. And if there's anybody else that wants to add something, all right, friends, yeah, right on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see the hearts coming through. That's a lovely way to let me know everybody's doing okay. We're feeling fine on this Tuesday morning. Okay, so awesome, Avery. Thank you. Doing rad. I love it. Okay, so let's get a little bit into our upper body, and we're going to do a little bit more heart opening. So shoulders, upper back, heart opening here. Choices. Let's come into a child's pose. Again, very grounding. Hands can go forward. This is good for shoulders and heart. So hands can stay on blocks and then bring the forehead all the way down. Right? This might feel really good on the shoulders. If you want a little bit more, maybe bring the blocks in a little bit closer. Place elbows on blocks, and then forehead comes to the ground. Really good if we're dealing with spine stuff from sitting at a desk, or if we're starting to like get that text neck, that little hump that shows up. This helps so much with realigning the spine. I love this one. So let's hang here. Let's take it for 2 minutes. I think we can do well here with 2 minutes. But if you need to come out sooner, please do so. The arms are extended. So if we start to experience any tingling or numbness, come out, right? Just bring the arms down alongside you, come into a regular child's pose. But wherever you are, breathe and find that stillness here in this shape. Let the heart melt towards the ground. Continuing to breathe here. Just keep sinking and allowing that heart to open. Keep allowing the hips to reach back. Just open up as much as you can here. Okay, my friends, carefully, you have the arms extended. Move those blocks out of the way, and then just come down for a moment. Just let your head rest on the backs of your hands and pause. And then as you're ready, when you're ready, if you come up and you take a little movement, maybe it's some cats and cows, or maybe you are ready just to kind of stretch your legs out a little bit after being a little cramped up in your child's pose. So extend one leg. So, sorry, Mama, come here. So extend one leg back at a time. Just reach, reach, reach. Good. And then switch. Good. And take, again, whatever your body is asking for. You know your body best. You know how it wants to move. So just move around in a natural way. We have about like maybe 10 more seconds of movement before we go to our next shape. All right. So let's take another pose to get into our low back and our hips. And we can get into the neck and the shoulders as well. So take the feet wide as feels comfortable for this. And then we're going to use a block, or you can use a bolster. So dragonfly. If you feel like you need to sit up on something, then slide a blanket or something underneath you. Again, if the knees can't like be straight, you can bend them as much as you need here. So wide as feels safe and comfortable. Let the feet go. All right, so we're going to bring this block over to the side. We're going to just do a little side lean to one side. Ground down through that opposite hip though, right? The hip that we're not leaning towards, because the tendency, right? The hip wants to lift up in this movement, but our work is to ground down. So feel grounded in both sides of your sitting bones, both legs, and then we'll hold here for 2 minutes. Doesn't sound like a long time, but 2 minutes to the side can be a lot. And use that block as you need. Maybe you don't want to use it, or maybe it's like, oh yeah, this is great. Use whatever you have, a bolster. You can also rest your arm on top of your leg. And if any tingling, numbness starts to occur in that upper arm, then you can bring the arm down. Right, but we know, because I stated before in our other posture, when we add the arms into shapes like this, it helps with us with breathing and moving that energy in those lines and those meridian lines. So breathe as deeply as you can. Feel that dull stretch happening in the side body. Keep taking those nice full breaths in. Good. Good. And if you've extended that arm up and overhead, just gently bring your arm down. Gently on your inhale, come back upright. Right, we still have another side, but if you feel like, oh, you know what, I need to move a little bit, I need to do a little lift of the heart here, do that. You have a couple moments in between sides. If you used a prop, move it to the other side, and we will get ready for side 2. All right, so legs, nothing is changing. All we're doing is leaning over to the other side. So when you do that, you can bring the elbow down onto the block, to your leg, or to a bolster, whatever you want to use. And then before you bring the arm, just again, assess, just notice, okay, what happened when I tilted? Did my opposite hip want to lift up too? And if it did, just ground down. So feel both legs planted. They're not going anywhere. The only thing that's moving is your spine. And then maybe that top arm. Notice as you come into this shape, what changed, right? What changed? What's different from side to side? Do you feel more? Do you feel less? Breathe into the side of the body that we are opening up. Soften through your facial features, your jaw, your eyes. And just breathe. That's all you have to do right now is just continue to breathe. So nice stretch here for the low back, the hips. We're getting into all of those muscles around the spine. They get so tight. And this is how we end up with those injuries from doing everyday things like, reaching behind, the seat behind you in the car, grab something. Um, so it's silly things like that because we're just not moving these muscles in that way. So yin practice is so beneficial. I feel like to every human. Every human needs to do yin. It's a balance. It brings our bodies back to that equilibrium, the homeostasis, which our body is always trying to achieve, always trying to bring us back to center, back to midline. All right, friends, if you added the arm, carefully remove the arm and then slowly inhale, come back up. Good. All right. So just pause for a moment, take some breaths, and then maybe you use your arms to bring your legs together. Maybe it's some windshield wipers side to side. Just get back into your body. How is it feeling after some of those holds? Good. All right. So we did our feet. We did a lot of hips. All right, let's see what we can do for some core. So this is actually going to go back into our shoulders, our neck, upper back, heart opening. Oof, and we're going to get them all, hips and core. So saddle up, my friends. We are headed towards Sphinx. All right, I'm just going to move some of this stuff out of the way. Now, when we come into our Sphinx shape, we come down to our belly. Elbows will be slightly in front of the shoulders. Good. And then decide how the hips and the low back feel. If they feel good, then maybe take the feet closer together. If you're feeling like, you know what, my back is just not doing so hot today, I need more space, then take your feet as wide as your yoga mat, somewhere in between, right? Okay, now another option here. You can take a block and add it underneath your forehead, if that's going to work for you. 3 heights, so you decide. Tall, medium, or low. I think medium is going to work best for me. So let's hang here for, this is going to be a longer one, I think. Let's be here for, where are we? 40? Okay. Let's be here for 4 minutes. And just breathe. Other choices for your head, you can drop your head back. That works better for you today. Or just somewhere in between, bringing your chin in towards your chest and leaving your head high, just somewhere in between, in the middle, neutral. Good. And just pause. Keep breathing into your body. Feel your belly press against your mat on your inhales. And then just notice how the back falls and relaxes on the exhale. Again, taking an opportunity to check in. How is your breath? What are the quality of your thoughts? And are you holding tension? Are you holding on somewhere in your low back, your glutes, your feet? Where can you soften and let go a little bit more? All right, friends, our final minute is here. If you want to come up into a little bit higher, really get into the abdominals and press those arms straight or as straight as you can, as much as you like for that deeper back bend. And then pause here. Again, noticing where you're holding on. Can you let go? Or can you stop gripping in this shape? All right, friends, gently lower yourself down all the way onto your belly. Take your hands, stack one on top of the other, rest your forehead, and just take about 5, maybe 6 cycles of breath before you have any movement. Just let the body absorb that posture, take it all in, and just be for a moment. We can just be a human being. We don't have to be a human doing at this moment. And when you are ready for some movement, my friends, just bend your knees and just gently let the feet sway side to side. Good. And then from here, carefully turn yourself over to your back. We will find our knees into our chest and just rock a little. Rock a little, maybe rock up and down along your spine, a little rock and roll, whatever feels right. That feels so good, like rocking up and down along the spine, a nice little massage. Good. All right, keep those knees hugged in. And then carefully shift your hips over and then drop the knees over to the left. Bring your arm out to the side so you're like in that goalpost arms. or whatever spinal twist makes sense to you. Both knees, single leg twist. Find some stillness. Find that realignment for your spine after all of those yummy poses we did. And again, of course, thank you so much, all of you, for showing up, being here, being present, asking for what you need out of your practice today. Remember, I don't like to show up with the scripted, sequence. I like to ask you what you need and what you want, because that is what I am here for. So, on your next inhale, bring your knees up. Again, maybe a little rock side to side, maybe circle the knees. And reverse those knee circles. Need to go both ways. Oh my goodness, Betty, I know, right? She's like, of course, Mama. Everybody has to go do both sides. That would be crazy. Okay. When you're ready, stay for the inhale. Exhale the knees over to the right. Left arm reaches out. Try to ground down through both shoulders. If you need that support, put a block underneath your knees so you don't feel like the shoulder is coming off the ground. We want shoulders, upper body completely planted. Knees do not need to come over all the way to the side. Just take a few more breaths, letting the twist do its magic into our spines. And don't forget, we'll do this again on Friday morning at 8 a.m. for Yin, same format. I ask you what you need, you tell me, I make a sequence, and then we flow. Good. And then tomorrow, I'll be here at 4 o'clock Pacific time for rest and restore, a nice mid-week restorative yoga practice. Trying to get those people on the East Coast too, so it's kind of an early one for the Pacific people, but late enough in the day for our Eastern people to join. And of course, anybody else. Maybe it'll be a morning practice for our friends over in Europe and Australia. All right, bring those knees back into your chest. And then as you're ready, extend the legs, come down to your Shavasana. We're not going to be here for super long, but just long enough to put a little space in between our activities in our morning or in our day. So let the feet roll open to the sides. Maybe there's a gentle tuck of the shoulders underneath the heart, a little lift in the chest. We're just going to breathe here for a few moments, receiving the benefits of our Yin Yoga practice this day on Tuesday. And we will meet at the end to close our practice. So let go of any controlled breathing. Arrange your body in a way that feels comfortable and you feel supported. Let the eyes close from top to bottom. Okay, my friends, begin to bring some movement to your fingers and to your toes. And extend that movement to your wrists and your ankles, moving them in one direction and reverse. And then inhale, reach your arms overhead, full body stretch. And just carefully turn over to one side, pause for a moment. Oh my goodness, so many people have said so many things. Okay, I'm just gonna pop over really quick before we close our practice. So, oh yeah, you know what, Stacy, send me a message and I can't, because what happens is that after I close that live, the chat is not in existent and non-existent. So, Stacy, send me a message and I will send it back. I will send you the sequence. Okay, sounds good. Okay, cool. Thank you. I love it. Thank you, Danny. Grateful for the space. See you tomorrow. Can't wait. Emily Jean, thank you so much. Danny, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, everybody. Beautiful. I'm so glad you all were here. It really is just fun to be here with you. You know, and it's funny. I'm going to tell you, I was very resistant for very long with changing my times on Insight Timer because I felt like I had built up such a good group of community here on this space. I almost have 4,000 people. Oh my God, that follow me on here. It's wild. Thank you so much. All of your hearts. I love it. I was really resistant for so long. And it's like, you know, telling myself, Casey, why have you been so resistant to accessing or being around more people or having community with more people? So I'm really happy that I changed my Friday classes because I think I'm keeping some of those people because they're joining me in the morning on Fridays. But I've also, you know, now met new people. So again, thank you so much for being open to this practice and showing up and being a part of this community. And it's just growing and I love it. So thank you so much for being here and making your donations and supporting me as a teacher on this platform. I love being on this platform. I want to stay on this platform. So, you know, sometimes we have to mix it up a little bit. So, all right, on your inhale, let's reach the arms overhead, palms touch. Exhale, bringing down all of that divine, universal energy to your heart centers. And that divine, universal energy vibrates as the frequency of love through which you and I and all sentient beings are connected on this planet. The light in me salutes and honors the light in all of you, my friends. Namaste. Again, thank you so much for being here with me on Insight Timer and allowing me to guide you. Lou, thank you so much. Stacy, thank you so much. Yeah, no, this practice was for you and you guys made it happen. Wanda, thank you so very much. Mallory, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was considering maybe doing a wall practice next Tuesday. Because I have this beautiful wall right behind me. And if you have a beautiful wall right behind you, maybe we should just do yoga at the wall because there's a fun practice for that. So right on, everybody. Christy, happy Tuesday. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. I really hope, yeah, Christy's saying, yeah. Okay, so let's do it next Tuesday. Next Tuesday will be the Yin Wall yoga practice. And it's a ton of fun. It's one of my favorite ones to teach. That one kind of, there are only certain poses you can do at the wall, but it's fun. All right, cool. Let's do it. Next Tuesday, wall yoga. It's going to be in my notes. Okay, friends, have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will see you next Tuesday or Friday or tomorrow, whatever. It's all my practices are there for the month. All right, I will see you soon. Take care. Right on, everybody. Enjoy.